She was like, I want one last trip with the family. We went out to the cabin in the summer as a big group. She enjoyed it. She loved it. She said, okay, cool. I can go anytime now. Whenever you're ready, Mom, like, do your thing. So she set her date for November 24th. She did it at our house. Like, they'll come to your house and do it. Nurses were like, hey, your time, like, we're on a little bit of a thing here. You need to hurry up and, like, say your goodbyes. We gotta go. So she was like, I'm gonna have another smoke. I'm sitting there like, oh, Mom, like, you're pissing your nurses off here. Like, what is going on? She was in the room saying goodbye to my sister, myself, and my dad. And the nurses came in and they were like, if you want to do this today, we gotta do it. She's like, oh yeah, today, and like ripped up her sleeve and was like, there's the IV port, like get it in me. So it all happened so quickly, and the nurse was like, okay, the first shot calms them in the moment, the second one puts them in the coma, the third one stops their heart.
Okay.
So I was in the room, it was me, my dad, and my sister. We're all kind of in this room. The first shot she gets, she's, you know, looking around all loopy daisy, and the second shot, her eyes closed, and then it was like the third shot, 5 or 6 seconds, and the nurse was like, and her heart has stopped. And I was like, what? That's really fast.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
So, actually, Happy New Year. This is coming out in the new year already.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
We're past Christmas and we're back on no drinking, but we're actually just started drinking.
Yeah.
Oh man, last night I had my first drink.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And then many drinks
And then
followed.
more after that. Yeah.
And it's 10 a.m. and we're here.
Yeah, whose bright fucking idea was this?
Our guest, I think. Let's just blame
your
our
fault?
guest. Yeah.
I guess.
Real nice. Dick.
Sorry.
Off to a good start.
Yeah. So you know what? I think we can kind of skip the little short intro right now and just go with the flow.
Follow your lead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
Well, that's what we're doing.
But so I'd like to welcome our guest, Zach Creaser. He is
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
It is a good name.
My parents gave it to me.
It's got some. Sounds like sounds like Jack Reacher. Isn't that the guy?
Yeah.
The
badass.
I don't know. I've never seen any of that stuff, but
he's like a badass
Zach
government
Creaser,
agent.
it's got power to it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's totally not the representation of him.
No, I'm actually just a meek,
We
quiet
insulting
little
our
guy,
guests.
yeah.
Is that?
You know,
It's allowed. It's allowed.
When your guests are friends, you can do
Yeah,
that.
okay, fair. Normally they're directed at each other, you and I, but that's all right. If we're ripping on Zach, let's do it.
I can handle it. Yeah.
But Zach, so you're one of the co-founders, I guess, of Wrestling United. You're part of the organizational team, and you guys have been doing a fucking incredible job this past year. And it looks like it's moving up to the next level, which is great. So we're going to talk about that a little bit towards the end because we have some collaboration going on.
We do.
Yeah, and but you know, every man has a story that, you know, that I think it's worth sharing on our show, and so we'll dive into that a little bit. But as you listen to our show, we do a check-in.
Yes.
And so why don't we check in? Let's start with Tim.
Okay.
How are you doing today, buddy?
Specifically this morning.
I'm okay. A little tired, but I just woke up kind of half an hour ago.
Yeah.
It's weird because my daily routine, like, I don't do anything till I take a shower. Like, I get up and I go, the first thing I do is go take a shower. And so I'm sitting here now and just like feel gross. And just, like, I feel disgusting.
Yeah.
The couch was comfy. I had a decent sleep.
I mean, that couch served my ass
Yeah.
many times.
It does look like a good couch.
It's not the first time I've slept on it
You
either.
know,
So
these couches are like 30, if not 40 years old. And
back when they know how to make a couch, you know?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would say I'm 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be.
It's been pretty low. Like last time, I think I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
Yeah.
I've had a good week. Like this past week has been good, and leading up into like I guess this is coming out in January, but it's just before Christmas week, and like I don't know, I just feel good. I'm 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, oh, nice to see you.
I'm excited
bounce
for
back.
like a little bit of a break over the holidays. Not really, because all the days that I'm not working, I have shit going on. But like, it's okay. It'll be all right.
Nice.
You?
I'm about a 7, 8. Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great week. It's been very busy. I really like one thing that bumped me up this week was Jacob, my son. He does Taekwondo, and he had a test. Now I don't know nothing about martial arts. Like when I, look at any fights, or
I would have thought you did.
Right? I mean, maybe judo, maybe wrestling, but like no. But like when I saw his test, I was like, holy shit! Like he did really good. Like, and he's been practicing for the last 2-3 weeks because his teacher told him, he was like, well, you might not be ready for the test, and it fucking hit him. So every day, like almost twice, like I think even twice a day, some days where he practice his routine and everything, so I could see that he's taking it seriously. And then when I saw the test, I'm like, holy shit, like buddy, you did really good, so I was super proud. And then so the test finished, and usually they hand out the new belts, but because of the strike, they didn't get the new belts.
Yeah. They didn't come in the mail. Yeah.
and so so everyone just kind of, when they said that we don't have the belts, they're like, okay, so they dispersed, and one of the teachers comes closer to the crowd, was like, hold on, we're not done. And they kind of made an announcement like, this doesn't happen very often, but one student did really good, so we're going to advance him to the next belt. And it was Jacob. So I was like, holy shit! Like I'm like, keep the tears in, I was like super proud, and like I could see he was proud, and like that, and just kind of like a little message that like hard work really pays off, I was just like, shit, like this is for a 10-year-old kid to do that. It was made me super proud, and like kind of like I had a busy week, and like it was stupid, but I'm like, you know what, this is good. I'm okay. I'm feeling really good. So that kind of helped me get through the tough week. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, it's also kind of a testament to the kind of parenting that your wife and you are doing. Is that when the teacher told Jacob, "Hey man, I'm not sure you're ready for this test." Yeah. He didn't give up and like go cower, right? He was like, "No, I'm going to buckle down. And I'm going to do this.
I'm going to prove you that you're wrong." Yeah. I've been always telling them that like, look, like you can fail. It's okay to fail, but just do your best, And he did his best, and he fucking didn't fail. So that's great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Zach, how are you?
I'm good. You know what? And I think I'm actually sitting around a 7 or an 8 as well. I mean, lots of things going on, similar to Tim. We've got tons going on in my life, but with Christmas around the corner, my son and my foster, who had a very questionable upbringing, she wasn't necessarily believing in Santa, and she's young enough still too, where it's like, hey, let's bring this joy back. Let's let you be a kid. Let's let you focus on being a kid, and it's finally coming full circle. And she's talking to the elf and asking for gifts now, and like things are just really sitting well at home for me. So I'm feeling well. We started hockey yesterday, and that's a big one for me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
always lifts me up a notch or two on the mental health scale, and
that is such a great thing on the Saturdays. Like I have Friday night hockey, and then I have Spongy on Saturday, and that's like makes me feel good that all the crap that I eat and don't take care of my body.
I'm out here moving my legs
exactly,
now. Right?
I'm trying.
Doing
right?
something. Yeah.
Looks like you're running full sprint and you're moving like a snail.
All right, awesome. Thanks for checking in. And so let's dive right in. So
I want to hear about this foster thing.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's ease into it.
Yeah, we can dive into that.
Can we get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I've got no problem with that. I'm a nice guy. I think I'm an open book. So I have a foster who is actually okay. So it was my stepdaughter. Some stuff went on in that situation, which necessarily isn't my story to tell, but it ended up that we have living with us now.
Okay.
And it started with, it's going to be 6 months and we'll see where we're going. There'll be court dates. There'll be, custody cases. Still haven't happened. So she's still with us almost a year later. Some parts are moving. So things are starting to slowly go on now. But yeah, so she's 9 and she speaks French and English. She goes to like a DFSM school, which is a nightmare for my wife and I because none of us speak French.
Yeah.
So trying to like keep up with her homework, I've gotten really familiar with Google Translate.
Yeah.
I lean on my francophone friends. I'm like, please help
Nice.
me. Like
Yeah.
I need help with this, right? So it takes a village, as they say.
Yeah.
But her and my son get along well. There's about 5 years age difference there, but they play every day. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Your son's how old?
5.
Oh, okay. So he's younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that,
4
that-
or 5 years, yeah.
But that's a good gap. Like it's
Yeah.
it's getting to that borderline. But like my kids are 5 years apart.
Okay.
And I still see them. Even right now, my daughter's 15 and he's 10. And once in a while, they're still hanging. Like Friday, that was their plan. Like last day of school, we're gonna just chill, watch movies, and they hung out all afternoon together.
that,
You know,
yeah.
like I think they took like an hour break where like one was on their screen, the other one was
Yeah.
on their screen. Just they need that a little bit, but they still played together and hung out together. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
man.
they
So-
do pretty good together. You're two.
and so that's a good gap, like 8 and 5 or 4. Like that's,
Yeah, like they do
that's
get
good,
annoyed
yeah.
with each other, of
Oh,
course.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
But you can be any age gap, and that's gonna
Exactly,
happen.
yeah.
Like,
So-
Yep.
so
in fact,
that's
it might
good.
even be worse if you were older.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like if you're 1 year apart.
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
don't
That's when
know.
you start to butt heads because it's like, no, that's my friend.
and you're
right?
going through like the same phase of life at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So, was this like your decision, or like you just wanted to help out,
Yeah.
or is that like did your wife agree to it right away, or was there some kind of a
So it was my wife's idea.
Okay.
We had been talking with who is really struggling with it. She was living in a home for abused women,
yeah.
women and kids. And at the time she was like, terrified to make the call. She was worried about the repercussion from the other party in the situation.
Yeah.
So I was like, listen, come down, like come over. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's
Yep.
unpack it. Let's see actually what you're scared of, and then let's move forward and let's
Yeah.
make the right decisions, not for you, not for the other party, but for your daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I said, and at the end of the day, that's who matters most in this equation
Exactly,
is
yeah.
that. So essentially I dialed, put it on speakerphone and handed her the phone. And I said, hey, you're making this call. And because I'm being such an influence and almost kind of forcing your hand in making this decision,
Yeah.
I'll take on some responsibility.
Yeah, that's
she
good.
can come stay here if they need something, right?
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
So 24 hours later, they were all sitting at my table, like CFS workers and everything like
Okay.
that. And they were approving our house, doing inspections,
Yeah,
making sure
yeah.
windows were the right size. Like,
Really? Like there's a whole
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, we had to design like a fire escape plan and tape it to the back of her door. Yeah.
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 Really?
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
We had to buy fire extinguishers. Yeah, it's basically they have to approve it in their system. They have standards, I guess. For
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
They won't let the foster child's room be in the basement because those rooms have smaller windows. The kids can't necessarily reach to
Okay.
climb and get
Yeah.
out if there's a fire, right? So at the end of the day, she's not in our custody. She's still in the custody of the government.
Yeah.
You're
We're just a place of safety. is
Yeah,
what they call
okay.
it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been going well? Like
Well, yeah.
you're-
I mean, she's a super easygoing kid. She does have a lot of traumas as a physically abused child, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I'll go to at the first start, like when we first got her at the beginning of the year, I would like go to rustle her hair or something, and when I would reach out to rustle her, she'd dive to the floor.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm like, oh,
Shit.
right. Yeah.
my bad, right? So I'll take a step back, assess the situation, change my behaviors because
Yeah.
at that point, like, yeah, we can all say your traumas aren't my responsibility, but this is a 9-year-old child. I'm gonna mind my P's
Yeah.
and Q's and try and make her
Yeah.
life happy,
100%.
right? So yes, things like that, or like if I noticed if I was putting on my belt or taking off a belt, the jingle of the sound of the buckle sent her right away. Like, so there were certain things that I had to adjust about my lifestyle to make sure that she was comfortable in our house.
Man, a kid should never feel that way.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's just brutal.
Now you've had her now for what did you say? A year?
Almost a year,
Just
yeah,
about a
just
year?
short of a year.
Have you seen those things change or soften or
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and
I would
I-
assume, like kids are I'm not a kid who experienced trauma like that, so I don't actually know, but like kids are pretty malleable. Like they change lots, and she's young enough that she's not kind of set in her ways. Like
Yeah.
I guess I'll let you talk about it, but
She's super smart in the sense that she knows now she's in a better situation than she was in. She obviously misses her dad. Let's be real. But there
Yeah.
are things that make her go, oh, like that wasn't the coolest that he did that to me. Or, you know, last year she'll go, oh, Santa didn't come to my house. He ate the cookies and milk, but he didn't leave anything under the tree.
Oh,
Oh, brutal.
So it's like it crushed me. Like
that hurts.
it sat so heavy. I was like, I need to change this girl.
Yeah.
Like I need to be such a positive influence that she comes out of the situation from living with us to whatever her next step is, feeling better and feeling more confident and feeling beautiful and all of these things. And she's come light years. Like she has made so many progressive steps forward. Obviously there are certain things, and like she does therapy every week. We make sure we take the time to take her and all of that stuff. So she's unpacking a lot there, and her therapist is in constant communication with us. So it works out really well.
Cool.
I've heard kids go to foster homes, and those foster homes are great.
Yep.
But when you go to somebody that you actually known already, it feels probably more home for her than
it's comfortable for her, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was a big thing for me too. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Like, we're gonna make this phone call, but I don't want her to fall into the system and end up with strangers.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
In a 13-kid house that's already, like. She is in a situation where she needs attention and she needs focus.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's something that my wife and I are able to provide, and we do provide. And I think it's helped her understand her situation a little bit better and help her kind of navigate the map to get through it.
Yeah. Well, and it's also a person that you're like, she's going to have you and vice versa in each other's lives forever.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Foster kids do become part of families of foster families. Like actually, Justin that was here last week. Like they had a foster kid.
Oh, okay.
Like their parents had a foster kid for ever. I mean, he passed away, but
I have a buddy who has one as well.
They refer to him as my little brother,
My son, my daughter, and little brother.
And, so
Dan. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know Dan.
He has one.
Okay.
He's got a foster.
and so kudos to people that take on foster kids, because there's so many kids out there that just need that helping hand, that loving family that will take care of them. So,
and it's not an easy thing to do. Like, not to make it sound like it's a hard job, but like it's a lot, and
it's
on
an
the
adjustment
families
to
too.
your family,
it's an adjustment. We have to adjust everything. I went from having my son as an only child. He had to adjust immediately. There was no 9 months of, you've got a sister or a brother coming, you're going to be a big
That's
brother.
right.
It's like overnight.
It's coming tomorrow. Let's get you're change everything about your life is about to change. Right. So it was an adjustment for him, but he loved it. Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's
only good for
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Okay. So as we talked on before you came here, like you mentioned that your mom has passed away.
Correct. Yeah.
And but it wasn't. So can you tell us the story? It wasn't a sudden thing. It was a decision.
Yeah. So my mom used MAID.
Okay.
Which is a medically assisted in dying program that's offered in Canada for anybody that has chronic illness or something that's not ever going to change for them. Their quality of life is not great.
Yeah.
So my mom, it all started when I was in grade 10, so it would have been 2005, maybe 2006. She had a double aneurysm. So it started up top in the brain. So it was an aneurysm on an aneurysm. She had open brain surgery. They sealed it up. The incision got infected, so they had to go back in, flush it out, clean it up again, re-drill her skull back in, and that kind of took her out of work forever. She had also been a lifetime smoker, so she had end-stage emphysema, full-stage COPD, asthma, the whole nine. She just bad things over and over in terms of her health, and then she got to a point where, she's living on oxygen. She hasn't left her apartment in months.
Yeah.
Right? If she can't go, she doesn't like to go. She's just like, I'm done, so I'm going to call my day. She got on actually a lung transplant list, and it gave her hope. She had quit smoking, all this stuff. The doctors called her back and said, hey, you actually didn't make the list. And she was like, oh, fuck this. And she called me and she goes, can you please go get me a pack of cigarettes? And can you get me? And I was like, your life. Who am I to tell you how to live it? Yeah, I'll go this way. Whatever. I went and got her what she had requested and brought it to her. And I guess the next day she had called the doctors and was like, let's do this MAID thing. Went through all the psychological appointments that she had to get assessed. And then she was given a date. Or she was given a time period. She was like, yeah, you can call whenever you want to call. So the way that it works is once you're approved, they can go, hey, you have until this date before you need to be reassessed.
Okay,
so
there's a window.
Yeah, they'll give you 5 or 6 month window, and then they go, okay, cool, you can call whenever you want. Just give us a couple days notice. Any day of the week is fine. So she hummed and she hawed, and she was like, I want one last trip with the family. And we went out to the cabin in the summer as a big group. She enjoyed it. She loved it. She said, okay, cool. I can go anytime now. Like, whenever you're ready, Mom, like, do your thing.
Jesus.
So she set her date for November 24th, I believe it was. But she called the Monday of that week. And she's like, hey, this Friday, come down. So Friday, we had to quickly like arrange everybody. I had talked to my employer. I was like, I'm going to need the Thursday and the Friday off, and then the following 2 weeks. Please,
Yeah.
like, this is going to be something
Yeah.
I need time to process. So we get to the day. Really weird process. A group of nurses shows up, and like obviously all of our families in this room, and like she did it at our house. Like they'll come to your house
Yeah.
and do it. So we get to the house, we do all that. Nurses were like, "Hey, your time, like we're on a little bit of a thing here. You need to hurry up and like say your goodbyes. We gotta go." And then so she was like, "I'm gonna have another smoke." And every time she smoked, they would like, "We gotta leave the apartment because we're not gonna smoke inside or be inside where you're smoking by your open oxygen tank."
right.
Like, we don't want to die today. So they kept leaving, and I'm sitting there like, "Oh, Mom, like you're pissing your nurses off here. Like what is going on?" So eventually she came to, and she was in the room saying goodbye to my sister, myself, and my dad. And the nurses came in, and they were like, "If you want to do this today, we gotta do it." She's like, "Oh yeah, today," and like ripped up her sleeve and was like, "There's the IV port, like get it in me." So it all happened so quickly, and the nurse was like, "Okay, we're gonna give her the first shot," puts her in a little bit of a coma. Second shot stopped her heart. Like cool.
Okay, that's how it.
Yeah. So like the first shot calms them. I think they get 3. One is like that calms them in the moment. The second one puts them in the coma.
Yeah.
The third one stops their heart.
Okay.
So I was in the room. It was me, my dad, and my sister. We're all kind of in this room. The first shot she gets, she's, looking around all loopy daisy. And the second shot, her eyes closed. And then it was like the third shot, 5 or 6 seconds. And the nurse was like, and her heart has stopped. And I was like, what? That's really fast.
Jesus.
Like it happened so fast. So I made the phone calls I needed to make. And at the time there was about 10 people in the living room, went out and let them know. Like, so I'm busy still dealing with all of these things.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm just, I got things to do. I had a checklist, right? Like I was zooming around in mode. I
Just
made my
in
phone
work
calls.
mode.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Specifically. And then, it's kind of messed up. I had to carry my mom out of her apartment that day because the hallways were so tight and narrow. And the 2 little ladies from the stretcher service, they said, they were like, you can't carry her. They're going to carry her out on like a tarp. And I'm like, God, give me that blanket. I got her up.
Oh my God.
So I scooped her up, and I'm walking out of her apartment with my dead mom in my arms, and I dropped her on the stretcher in the hallway, and I was like, thank you. Like, I'm leaving that a Google review. Like, who you sent to do this, right? So, yeah.
So do the nurses actually issue they do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
So there's one's a doctor, one is a nurse, and the other one I think is like a family support therapist kind of thing. They come by and they're like, "Is everybody okay?" And yeah, like my
man,
what do you expect us
I
to
have
say?
so many questions.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, ask away. I'm all answers. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the start. So like, what how did you guys how did you react when you heard that your mom wants to do this? Like what went through your, because like, not sure what your relationship was with your mom, like I don't have the best relationship with my mom, but like I still love her, and I like, it's not like we hate each other, but that would like kind of devastate me, but also be like, what the fuck? Like,
I knew,
like, we're still here for you, and like at least that's what I would be going through, like,
right? And even if she didn't use MAID, I knew her timeline was short.
Yeah,
she's living there with end-stage emphysema.
Yeah.
Like, she can't breathe on a good day, right? So I knew she wasn't going to last long, even if she didn't use that. So I had kind of already mentally prepared myself for that.
Okay.
5 times over the years, there's been stroke scares and heart attack scares and this brain surgery thing. She was on life support. Like, so there's been multiple moments in my life that she was on the edge of death.
You've had time to
process
almost pre-process some of that. Yeah.
And for
it's
me,
coming, you just didn't know when, right?
Likewise, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my mother either. There was a period in my life where I had excused her, and I was like, I don't have the space for you with this behavior. So it was like a 2-year gap where the only contact I had for her was so that my son could have his time with her. Because I didn't want to be the kind of parent that was like, I don't like my mom, so you're not allowed to. I want you to have that relationship with your grandmother, and I want you to later in life be able to make the decision whether or not you want to have that relationship with her. So as of now, I'm not going to make the decision for you. Let's give you that time. So I still had contact with her, but like I wasn't calling her with updates all my life.
Yeah.
She didn't have the green light. It was very much so an amber, like proceed with caution situation.
Any particular reason that the relationship was like that? Or?
She was abusive like my entire life. Growing up, I struggled. I was bullied at home by my mom, and I was bullied at school by my peers.
Yeah.
My dad worked 3 jobs to keep the house afloat when she stopped working, so it just became worse. And then when I finally met Delaney, my wife, and we moved out, my mom started attacking her because that was, the girl that took the baby bird out of the nest, and I moved out of the house, and so she wasn't a fan.
You're no baby bird.
I know, I'm very much so a big bird.
Maybe a penguin.
So she didn't like my wife at the time, or my partner, and so kind of navigated through that. There was some fights and some blow-ups over that situation. And then it was my wife's idea when my mom was in really rough shape. Well, let's have her move in with us.
Who?
And I was like, why? Why would you even suggest that? Yeah.
Are you breaking up with me?
Do you want this to be the end of us? And I bless her heart, because in that situation, if her mom said the things that my mom said about her to me or about me, I would have been like, so she's got no space in my home, right?
Yeah.
But my wife, having a huge heart and wearing it on her sleeve.
Clearly.
Yeah, took it. She was like, I think we need to be the people to take your mom in and care for her.
She tried to be the glue and making sure that everything works out.
Yeah, and it didn't work. It lasted about 2.5 months, and that's what started me not speaking to my mom. I kicked her out of my house. I said, you need to move out by the end of this week.
Okay.
And she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she found somewhere to live, and that was where she stayed until the end of her days. So not the best relationship with my mom, but when I found out that she was using MAID, I was like, I knew this was coming. I've been prepared for this since I was 16 years old. Like, I'm surprised you made it this far.
Okay.
So I was okay with it. Leading up to it, it's weird because humans aren't built to process scheduled deaths. Yeah. Sure, with pets, we schedule euthanizations, right?
Yeah.
It's not something we know to do with humans. So
and so I had a buddy that chose that because I believe it was brain cancer, and the doctors basically said like you're gonna die in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna get better. There's no chance of you surviving, right? So he's done that, and when basically right before it got really bad. Now that I can see that it's just your time is up for sure, in the next 6 months. And when I heard about that, I was like, well, I think I would do the same thing, because then I would try to, spend as much time with my family. I wouldn't want my family to see me struggling, going through the pain, any possibly chemo or whatever if I had cancer, just because chemo kills your body, so you're useless, you're a struggle to your family, right? And now I don't know, me and my wife had an argument about it actually, because she's like, why the fuck would you do that? I'm like, well, okay, I would live a year longer, but that year would be super tough on me and you guys as well, right? So it's but yeah, you as a human being, we're not how can we get ready for that shit?
You don't right?
It's
you make the most of your time. You make the memories you can. I think
it's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to talk about it, and another to actually
make the time.
Have somebody in your life do that, because I don't know how I would react to that. Right?
It's a tricky situation because selfishly, you want to be like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you choose to leave me and this person and this person? Then you kind of look at the broader picture of it, and you're like, okay, this would have been another year of me going to run errands 4 times a week, and me going to. So, as much as it's you want to be selfish about it, you go, oh, this is your life. You have to live with that pain every day, and if you have to live with that, and you don't want to live with that anymore, that's do you, right? It's
Yeah, I'm so conflicted about the whole thing, because I don't. Part of me definitely sees sort of the compassionate side to giving people that opportunity, and the other part of me sees I just don't like it. It doesn't feel right, and I've paid a little bit of attention to the program since they started it, and it's expanding. They're adding to it, like they're adding validations to it that make it easier, and like it doesn't feel good. Like I understand somebody who is inevitably, you are 6 months from death, or you are in excruciating pain. I get that part a bit, and you're like older or whatever, but they're adding things to it now that like aren't, in my mind, aren't fair reasons to give someone that option and that choice, and that's scary. I don't think that's good, and so I do see a place with the program that makes sense, but man, that's a slippery fucking slope. In my mind, that's a really slippery slope when you start adding other things that they're adding to it, and I'm not going to go into details about that because this,
of course,
turns into a political conversation. But like, that scares me.
Absolutely, and I tend to agree with that. Like any other program that the government offers, though, there's going to be people that are using it for the right reasons, and there's going to be folks that find the loopholes and beat it until it's not a good program anymore.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And which is super unfortunate. And like you said, they're kind of making the program more accessible isn't what this program should be about. It's not. This program should be very hard to become a part, like to be a part of.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's not.
No, so I've never like read about it or anything, but like, is there like a list? Like, oh, if you have this, then
kind of.
Yeah, which is weird, right? Like it shouldn't. There should be no list. There should be like, okay, this is the case. Now have a board or whoever look at it and assess everything, and then.
I
think what's wild about it is basically her doctor offered it to her. They're like, hey, have you heard of this?
Yeah,
do you want
to? I've heard of that on multiple occasions. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not okay.
The doctor's like, I'm kind of done with seeing you every 2 months. Like, do you want to?
I have a huge ethical and moral issue with that exact thing. Like, people offering, like the people that are supposed to save your life offering to take it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, and I've got like, I'm not going to get into a whole thing about that, but like, that's wrong. Like to me, that's just fucking wrong.
I agree.
And so
it shouldn't be something that's recommended to you. It should be something that's requested by you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, hey, I've got these 6 chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
I can't keep fighting this every day. It's daunting on my family. It's daunting on my existence. I'm not happy. I sit in the same chair every day for 25 hours. Like, you know what I mean? It's so for those people, sure. Yeah. But to have your doctor go, have you heard of this program?
No, I thought about this.
That option should be like on the
fucked up.
It should be on the top shelf, and for the doctor to be hard to reach. Not just like,
let me pull this out of my pocket like a prescription pad. Like just you know.
I don't like that. I didn't know that.
I fucking hate that. It's bad, and it's getting worse.
Yeah,
it is getting worse.
Well, and like who's to say? There's lots of people with struggling mental illness.
They're adding that.
And then
so you're aware.
See?
And that's unfortunate because there is a plethora of mental health illnesses and issues, and people are suffering, but that's not. That's not like, I shouldn't say it's not, but it's not. It shouldn't be a priority path for anybody.
No. That should actually never be an option for if you're struggling with mental illness.
Correct.
Because there's so many great ways to fix your mental illness, because
or help or treat.
You can. Well, exactly. Like you can do therapy. You can do self improvements. Well, self improvements of your life. Just simple things as going for walks, working out, like
We're
things
not
like that.
To make dying easy for people who suffer from mental illnesses, and like the whole thing about all this. The reason we do this show is we have people. We've been arm's length from people who've killed themselves, and it's like that's what we're trying to stop.
Yeah.
And like now we're making it easy.
We don't want it to be easy for them to walk.
We're making it easy, and like also someone else is doing it, so you don't have to like. No, no.
I have a theory.
I have a lot of theories on this that I'm not going to talk about on the show.
We opened a can of worms today.
Terminator, fucking, Skynet, and it's all AI's fucking taking over, and they're putting it in there because they want to get rid of humanity.
The conspiracies.
Email us about that. What do you think?
I do think it's getting too easy, and I have theories on why, and that doesn't matter, but like. I do think there is a place for it.
100%.
There is
I think it should be. I think it should be rare, and it should be very difficult to validate.
Yep, I agree as well. And I think something that I realized through this process with my mom is that it is far too easy.
Yeah.
Like there are moments where I'm like, this woman is not mentally sound and she should not be making this decision. Granted, she did go through all like the psychiatric appointments, but that anybody could probably walk their way through that if they really wanted to. You know,
should I try? I can make it a project on the show.
See if you can get approved for it.
See if I can get approved.
I mean, hey, it's a good experiment to be like one of those button cameras. Where you
I'm sure. I would hope I'd at least have had a bit of a history documented. But I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah. Something I noticed too about this, which is really weird, to kind of tail off of your point, Tim, is that my mom did it. And now she's got like this group of friends that I'll say, this one's going through this and this one's going through this. And now all of a sudden their opinions are, well, we're kind of done.
Yeah.
We don't want to do this anymore. And it's like, well, your problems aren't nearly as close. Yeah. So now they're all like, well, I'm just going to call them. No, like you guys.
No, but that's what happens. Because it's too easy. And like, I fucking hate it. It's just too easy. They're making it too easy.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I had no idea they're adding mental health.
And it's a laundry list of things that they're like, I follow it as well. Yeah.
They're just going to keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. The UK just did it too. Just in the last couple weeks.
Very, very recently.
Or very recently they added it as well, the program. And so it doesn't feel good. I've heard your story. I heard a different story from another friend of mine who went through it with his partner's mom. And it was like very early on, like right after the
diagnosis,
right after they made the program.
Like
and it was
one
like
of the first.
It was early on, and he was there for it, and he said it was really fucked up.
Yeah,
like it was super. He's like, this woman should not be doing this, and it was really fucked up.
See, it's hard to
now, when do we get? How do we get to decide other people have to live or not?
Yeah,
it's our lives. We can end them if we want, I suppose. And so it's like it's a weird.
Yeah,
there is no right or wrong in it, because like if you're deciding to end your own life, it's yours to take.
Correct. Yeah.
It's really tricky.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate the conversation about it too without people coming across and going like, "Oh, you're really selfish for believing." It's like, no, he's not selfish. It's from somebody that's been through it and like directly with my mother. Yeah, it's her life. She's going to do what she wants to do with it. I'm happy that she chose to do it this way as opposed to any other way. And you know what? She's at peace. I'm at peace with that.
Yeah.
But again, she was chronically ill with like 3 or 4 different things on the go.
Yeah.
Her day-to-day life
like
was
any of
horrible.
those things could have caused the death.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Any day, honestly. So it was like she chose to be in control of it.
Yeah.
And it's nice for people to have that, but it is so fucked up because it is so accessible.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be as accessible as it is.
Yeah.
Simply.
Yeah. I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Others don't, but that's fine.
Well,
but again, it's
everyone
like,
has their
and
opinion.
it's such a weird situation because it's like now we've got how do people get to decide what you do with your life?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, someone should at least be preventing you, like.
Yeah, the doctor should be like, hey, this is should
I
not be
don't
the
know.
option.
The fact that her doctor was like, hey, should we take a look at this now? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, cool. But like, fuck, man.
It's just so, that's, like, to me, that's fucking wrong.
It is.
That's like
it's the opposite of what a doctor's supposed to be there for.
Correct.
Yeah, that's like the porn section
like
in the old Blockbuster thing where it's like, you don't want to
be caught in that area.
Exactly.
You know it's there. Yeah. But you don't, I'm going to quickly walk through this real fast so nobody sees me over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't they take the oath that they aren't supposed to do that shit? Like, aren't they doctors? The Hippocratic oath or whatever?
They take the oath that they're here for the betterment of humans or whatever
and
it is.
And I guess for the betterment of humans, killing some of them is fine. I don't know.
I guess so.
Let's take Fiverr.
Let's do that.
People appreciate the fact that you're genuine and authentic. Just be yourself. Like I complimented Justin Lamuda from Rainy Day Forge. He put his YouTube video out, and I've seen every other video he's done, but this one was different. And I reached out to him, and then when he answered, he said that he was just being himself.
Guys, listen up. You know what makes life better? Great knives. But not just any knives, custom knives. Need a knife that'll handle your outdoor adventures? Or a kitchen knife sharp enough to make you feel like a pro? Check out Rainy Day Forge. Crafted right here in Winnipeg. Get yours today at rainydayforge.ca.
It's captivating. Why? Because he's being himself. There we go.
From their humble roots in kitchens and music venues all over Winnipeg, the creators of Intergalactic sauces have turned their passion project into a line of must-have condiments for flavor and heat lovers everywhere. Getting their start selling tacos to hungry concert-goers at local underground music festivals, the Intergalactic crew has stayed true to its DIY rock and roll aesthetic. Every delicious bottle is a carefully designed collaboration with indie designers, printers, and a bit of inspiration from the cosmos. Whether it's a limited run or one of Intergalactic's core flavors, whether you want to add a bit of zip to a meal or blow your head off with heat, there's a sauce for everyone. Go to intergalacticsauces.com and get your sauce today.
So I want to touch on a little bit, how did all that affect your dad, your sister, like your family, and how much pressure did you feel from them going through the time when it was announced to you guys that
it was kind of funny because my uncle almost applied pressure in a way.
Okay.
And it wasn't that he applied it intentionally or that was his goal, but he was like, "Hey, are you doing this? Are you?"
That was your mom's
my mom's brother.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't like, "Are you doing this?" It's like, "Hey, did you get your mom cream this week?" Or, just little, like, he pushed me to kind of become involved with her life again, which I did. And my mom and my dad divorced when I was 18 and split ways, but my dad still remained involved because my mom, very dependent, right? She needed everybody in her life to do things for her because she couldn't do them herself. So he was always around. He would always do
So your
errands.
sister's older or younger than you?
My sister's older.
Okay.
I think by about 10
years.
Okay. So, and she...
It's just the two of you,
open
right?
open another can of worms. I didn't meet my sister till I was 12, but
Oh, okay.
okay. We can journey down that path another time.
Might be a 2 episode.
Yeah,
we'll definitely have you back.
So she was affected the most. She came back into my life when I was in grade 7 and immediately bonded with my mom. So it was like their relationship. They were the same person, but they had never met. So when they met, it was almost like the puzzle was completed. So my sister really attached to my mom. For whatever reason she had, but my dad and I experienced my mom for 20 years and we were like, no,
we're good.
Hey, we're good, thanks. So that, and no shade to my mom, whatever. But she, my dad was kind of like me, and we knew it was coming. Like, my sister though, dreaded the day, going up to the day, like she was going through all of the stuff at home, all at the same time. Like when my mom used MAID, she was living in the abused women's shelter. So like it was all going on for my sister at once. She took it really, really hard.
Yeah.
And still to this day feels it super hard. I don't think she ever had the time to process either situation properly.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad and I, it was like the day that it happened, great. The day that her apartment was clean, that was it. Like, I was closed on that chapter, done, and I was moving on.
And when did your mom pass away?
November 24th of last year.
Last year, okay.
So we just had the 1 year anniversary of that. And my sister still struggles with it. I'm moving on. I'm open to growing and learning, and I use it kind of as like a tool to navigate. And I'm like, if I can deal with that mentally and like process through that, I can probably process my way through most things.
Yeah. You've used it to find strength in yourself.
Correct. And
which it would force, I guess, in a way. Like what was I don't know if you mentioned, but what was the timeline between like when she decided, okay, I want to do this, and when it happened?
April. So April of last year.
Okay,
she
so
basically,
it was like 6 months.
Yeah, found out that she was off the lung transplant list, and that was no longer an option for her, which was her little glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
So once that was removed, she was like, yeah, let's start. So she, and then went through all the appointments. 6 months later, she had, as of July though, so it was like April to July that did the process, and then as of July, they were like, you can pick any day.
Okay.
So she pushed it through. She did the family trip. She's like, I'm going to hold on as long as I can. Maybe I can make it one more Christmas. And then we got to like November, and she was like, I really don't think. Yeah. She was in and out of St. Norbert Health Center, or not St. Norbert, sorry, Riverview. Like so she was in and out of there a few times, and she's like, I can't keep doing this anymore, but I don't want to do it at Riverview. I want to do it at home in my bed. Cool. Yeah, do you like pick your day? Her friends took it really hard. Like my mom's best friend, they spoke on the phone every day for like 3 hours. Like, what do you guys talk about? Like, how do you do this? You're both retired women, like sitting at home. Like,
I don't want to be on the phone for
just-
10 minutes with anybody.
Don't call me. Actually,
Don't ever phone me. Like, I hate that shit.
Shoot me an email. Shoot me a message.
We can text all day off and on, but like, please don't
call
fucking phone me.
Yeah. So they would sit on the phone for like hours on end, and I'm like, what do you guys just put on the same show and chat? Like, so she's still like really struggling with it. She calls me often, and I always make the time to answer that call because I'm like, if I sense that she's calling me, I'm like, oh, she probably wants to talk.
There's probably a need. There's a need. Yeah.
She's in a spot where she might need.
So now you're having 3-hour conversations with her.
No, I keep them to like a max 25 minutes. I make sure I navigate it quite well, but. So there are people in her life, like her brother took it really hard. We had a nice little service, and my mom didn't want a funeral. Like she didn't. And that pissed off a lot of my family, actually. I had so much blowback from my family. Why weren't we invited?
Yeah.
Well, she didn't want anything, so we did like a very intimate. It was like me, my dad, my sister, obviously my family. My sister's family was there, and then her brother and both of their kids and their family. So it was like very, very small, like immediate family. So a lot of my family was like, oh, why would your mom do that? Like, why would she make the selfish decision to do this? Why wouldn't she have a funeral? Why didn't she think about us wanting to say goodbye? It's like, fucking fuck off.
Ask her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
You call MAID, arrange your appointment, and when you get there, you can talk to her.
Like, not my fucking problem.
Correct.
Like, but it's hard because everybody's struggling and everybody's grieving,
I
and
guess
they want to
want that closure.
And everyone's version of closure and how they grieve is different and unique, and like they're all important.
Correct.
But how do you the person's gone, you're just honoring their wishes. That's all. Like I'm not. It's not.
Do you
like,
think I wanted to exclude
it's
you?
not like I'm excluding you. Like I was just doing what mom wanted.
I'm surprised you wanted to be there. Like like why? So there was a situation too where her other best friend that she'd grown up with since childhood, which was she considered her sister, I call her an aunt, who lives in the States, didn't get the phone call that she was supposed to get on the morning of the appointment.
Oh shit.
So I had the weight of calling her and being like, hey, Auntie Colleen.
Oh, fuck.
She's gone.
Yeah.
I know you didn't get to say goodbye, but here's her message. And she just obviously sobbed to me on the phone.
Yeah.
She made the trip to come up. She was here for the service as well. We planted a tree. It was a beautiful thing. But I would say I dealt with it the easiest out of everybody. And I think that has a lot to do with my stance on my relationship with my mom. Mm-hmm. Same with my dad. But my sister, like everybody else around them, I'm watching and I'm like, wow, like I would almost love to feel this grief and I would love to have that soreness, but I didn't. For me, it was almost like a weight was lifted, and I said goodbye. I said my piece. I made amends. I forgave her, which was a big thing for me.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, I think holding on to a grudge is like the worst thing anybody can do because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't do any good, right? So,
and I didn't wait until the day of her appointment to do it. I made sure that I went to her place by myself, weeks ahead of time. Just so that we had that, or she had that last few weeks of like, okay, my son like loves me. I wanted her to feel that.
That's good.
So I did that. I kind of made the choice to do that. But yeah, everybody, like just watching everybody grieve deeply, I was like,
Yeah, I didn't have that experience.
Why?
Like I don't.
Yeah.
And
I, like I said, I think that kind of plays a part with the relationship I had with her growing up and throughout my adult life. But yeah, it didn't hit the same for me as it hit for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, in one way, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I had few like family members that passed away, and we weren't close at all, and I had no problem with letting go. Right. There's a couple people that were hard for me too. Like I actually took a day off from work, and so it's tough. But yeah, I think I'm shocked more about deaths that like are sudden and not
unexpected.
Nice. The tragic ones. Like
for sure.
If someone's sick and they died like that, like okay, there's nothing that could have been done, right? So, but yeah, it's funerals. Like I don't like going to funerals.
I fucking hate them.
Mm-hmm. I don't like
so
funerals,
much.
but I like funerals here in North America because I love how it's they tell stories. It's a celebration of life, right? And I like that term a lot because in Europe it's fucking sad, depressing. You have a priest there, and then there's nothing good at all, you know. And I kind of just told the wife too. I'm like, yeah, I don't want a fucking funeral. Like,
have a bonfire.
First of all, I can't believe how much money they're charging for that shit. It's absolutely ridiculous
it's
that
astronomical.
You're cashing in on someone's death. Like, I'm sorry, but the urn should not be $700, $800, or $1,000. You know, like, like. I told my wife,
just flush me down.
Put me in a fucking coffee tin or whatever.
That's
like,
what my mom's in. Is an
like,
Edwards coffee
put
tin.
Put me in a whiskey bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get a flask or whatever. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I just don't like that whole idea of like, have a party, fucking get Danny's whole hog barbecue, you know, and invite people that want to come by and whatever, tell jokes. I don't care. Like, I want people to pissing themselves laughing about stories that they tell about.
Don't
me,
sit there crying about me, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, you know. Anyways, well, you know, it's. Thanks for sharing. Like, now I understand. Like when you kind of told me about the story, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be interesting. But now I get it. Like, where you're coming from, what happened, and how you dealt with it. So good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously, you had your beautiful wife supporting you too along this, because
she was
she's awesome. Yeah, like I've met her a handful of times.
She
and
sounds
she's
like
great,
a lovely lady.
Yeah, she is. She's quite
and
nice.
awesome. I see her every time at the Wrestling United show, supporting you guys
there,
too. So let's talk about that a little bit now. You know, let's end on a positive.
Yeah.
Tell us about Wrestling United. Like, there's nothing more manly. Like, you go to a wrestling show, like entertainment wrestling, right? And you see a bunch of men.
I've never been to one.
So
come on January 9th.
I've never been to WWF or whatever it is now, and like I've never been to a wrestling show.
So here's my take on wrestling before we go into Wrestling United. I've as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is cool, right? Never seen one live, and then I moved here to Winnipeg, and WWE came by, right? And we were sitting far away. I think even maybe in the nosebleeds. I'm like, man, I can fucking tell it's fake from here. Like, clearly on TV, the camera angles make a huge difference. Live, you can kind of tell, okay, these are totally fake punches. And that was like a realization for me. Like, okay, I knew it's not real, but now I can really see that it's not real. But I haven't really gone to matches. When I've seen online the local ones, you know, it's in the gym, lights are on, there's the fighting rink on there, and then like, oh, still like this, I don't know, this blows. And then you guys, you know, you reached out to me and like, hey, we're doing this thing, and I came to the first event. I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. Like, like your crew, your setup, your fighters, absolutely fantastic entertainment.
Yeah, thank you.
I have to say that I became a fan now, for sure.
That's our goal, is like, there's already a pretty solid local demographic for wrestling fans.
There is,
We've got, you know, there's 3 other counterparts to ours. The Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, Canadians Wrestling Elite, and Blaze Pro Wrestling are all other local promotions locally. So us as Wrestling United.
Oh, so there's like a bunch.
There's 4,
Oh, okay.
There's 4, including us.
Okay.
So within, like, you know, everybody's got their own little niche thing going on, but we wanted to create new wrestling fans. We wanted to really dive into families and a good fun night out. So that was kind of our goal with that. You know, a couple of roadblocks along the way, but I'm super proud of the product we've built. We've got a really deep roster of fantastic talent that have trained all over the world. You know, we've got some sort of a professional standard. So what you see in our ring, you're not going to see it any other promotion locally.
Okay.
We're very unique in that sense, whereas all the other local promotions kind of share a roster. You'll see the same person on every show, kind of a thing. Not on Wrestling United.
Yours is like your own.
Yeah, we're very, you know, some of them you'll see. We've got a handful of guys that you'll see on the other shows, but we don't go out of that bubble. We've got our nice little bubble of roster, and so it's different. Wrestling United is different. It's fun. We work with Red Rover Entertainment.
I was gonna bring them up, the whole setup.
Yeah,
it looks like WWE, man, on TV. Yeah. Like, totally. Like, all you guys need to do is start broadcasting now.
And you know what? Yeah, we've talked about it. It's something that, you know, might eventually happen one day, but we're right now just really working on our base and perfecting what we do, because we're only firing, I'd say, at about like 75%.
Yeah,
shit goes wrong every show, right?
Yeah,
There's
100%,
there's always going to be some sort of a flop in certain areas.
Figuring it out.
Yeah, we work through it, and like I said, we're only on going into show 4. Show 4 will be January, right?
Yeah.
So for
this
us,
is like only your 4th.
We're brand new.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is just
Yeah.
the 2024 was your guys' year.
We debuted May 16th, 2024.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
And what's your how often, I guess, what does the market want? How often would you want to put on an event?
we run about 6 to 8 shows a year.
That's
so
the
our
goal?
goal is a minimum of 6.
Okay.
With the option to, if we have an opportunity, we'll branch out and do more.
Yeah.
Obviously. So we're going to run our majors. Like, we'll run our anniversary show in May. We'll run our summer show usually probably July, sometime fall show in October. Beginning of the year, is going to be a little bit more frequent in Winnipeg, right? Because it's winter. People want things to go do inside.
That's right, yeah.
Warm, right?
Yeah.
You got to be careful when you're booking too. Make sure that you're not competing against the Jets or concerts or whatever might be going on in the summer, the Bombers, the Gold Eyes, all that stuff, right? So just be cognizant about when you're booking so that people want to be available to come down to your show.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I've seen some of those wrestling fans now. I went to couple events and I see the same people coming back, and the funniest thing was I was sitting down and looked over, and then there's these 4 gentlemen anywhere from, I'd say, 20 to 30 years old, and they're just into it, and I'm like, I thought like kids would be doing that, but no, these are adults that are just like, like cheering and like, yeah, fuck yeah, hit him, or whatever. Like it just blew my mind that like people are so into it. And then
entertainment,
that was my
it's sports entertainment.
Yeah, and that was my first event, and there I was in second event. Me and our buddy Tom is like, yeah, let's go. Like we were doing the same thing,
and it's wrestling is a men's soap opera.
Yeah,
like you think like Days of Our Lives or like that reality TV.
It's the same.
The Kardashian. That's it for men.
Yeah.
Right? Men
100%.
get bought into the storylines. Like, and people can say, yeah, wrestling is fake. The bumps that those guys are taking a toll on their body. Like they're doing some crazy shit in this ring, but it's the stories and the connection between the fan and the audience and the baby face and the heel. Like, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Right?
Yeah.
Or, are you connecting? Are you getting through? Are the fans making noise for you, or is it quite like it's. Yeah,
I recently watched that Vince McMahon documentary.
Oh, great documentary. Yeah.
That series, and like, that guy's fucked.
Yep.
Like, he's fucked. B, it was really, really interesting. Like, it was super interesting. When did I watched wrestling in the Stone Cold Rock days.
Okay, so the Attitude Era.
Like, that's what the Attitude. Yeah, the Attitude Era. That's the only time in my life I really watched wrestling. But like,
great period of time.
Oh man. Well, yeah, and for me that's the only one I did watch. But like, it was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was entertainment. It was crazy and dramatic and all that shit. Like, it's the soap opera.
It made you want to watch it. It was like, this happened last week. What's going to happen on Monday this week?
Like,
right?
it was great. I loved it.
No, so and I don't want to shit on all the other wrestling organizations because.
Do you guys play friendly in the sandbox with each other, or that's a no?
We do. We play nice in the sandbox.
We don't have to take a deep dive on that one.
That's fine. That's okay.
Mike has his show as well.
I wanted to give a shout out to Beast She's Wrestling podcast, because they do play our the Quiet Riot show ad on there. So
every episode.
So I want to give them a shout out for sure. So that's one of the bigger. That's the main organizer, I guess, right?
Mike. Yeah, that's my business partner. He's the the initial one that approached me, and he was like,
the brains behind it.
Yeah, do you want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
I said yeah. So he offered me a percentage, and away we go. Co-founder Zach over here.
That's awesome.
No, it was really cool actually how it kind of worked out because of my time in the entertainment industry, my touring, my production background.
Yeah,
I had been listening to his show, and I was like, "Oh, you're thinking about starting up? This is interesting." So I shot him a message because I've known him for years. So I shot him a message, and I said, "Hey, man, like if you're thinking about starting up, let me know what you need production wise." I said, "And I'll make sure you're taken care of. Like this would be super cool to be involved with." He started calling on me for a bunch of favors. Hey, can you give me some venues? Can you give me a cost on this and a quote on this and this and this and this? So I was like, yeah, I got him some partners. It's like, I'm doing all these things. And he goes, hey man, like you've done quite a bit. Would you like to come in on this with me? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Right. So I kind of signed
up for
that. Thank you. Sweat equity, right?
I didn't want to say it, but
yeah. So, I mean, and at this point, I haven't seen a cent back, and I don't think any of us have. And Mike's put in a healthy chunk of change. And,
We'll get there.
Exactly. And it's time. It takes time.
100%.
We're still building our fan base. We're still working out our kinks. Like I said, we're not firing at 100%, but we will be.
Yeah.
We're on our way there. And I think we're on a very nice upward trend right now.
And that's with anything. Podcast businesses, you know, like you're not supposed to make money in the first year in your business.
No,
really. Like,
no.
I mean, if you can break even, that's a fucking
Correct.
win.
Yeah, and being happy with a break even is a big thing. Like some people look at a break even and go, that wasn't successful. No, it was because last show you were deep in the red. This show you're zeros.
Yeah.
How is that not a good thing, right?
Exactly.
So, which I'm not relating to our situation at all. That's quite different.
Well, you're building something from nothing.
Yeah.
And so like that takes time. You're trying to get people on board. You're trying to refine your product. Like those things, all that is time. If you guys are smart, then it's just about time. We have to repeat this so many times to get the thing that we were trying to achieve. And like, you don't do that in a year. You don't do that in like, you've done what? This is your 5th event coming up?
Fourth in January. Yeah. So we've done 3 shows.
Yeah. What can you expect of yourselves and like all that after 3 shows?
Yeah. Oh, amazing. How is that? How is this now affecting your mental health? Like, have you been a wrestling fan your whole life, or you just kind of got, like I said, you listened to the show, you knew Mike? Did you just kind of get into it?
I got into wrestling at a really young age. My dad was a wrestling fan, so him and I would sit down and watch.
Yeah.
It kind of evolved over time as I grew up. I kind of followed it on my own without my dad, kind of thing. And then I met my best friend of almost 15 to 20 years, somewhere in there, Dorian, which you know. Him and I started watching wrestling together because he was a big wrestling fan as well. So it's like, this is a common interest. We'd do Monday Night Raws. We'd always get together for Monday and watch wrestling, and pay-per-views. We'd do prediction pools and stuff. So when Mike and I were physically drowning in work, he was like, we need a third person. I said, I know just the guy.
I got the guy.
So I called my best friend and I said, hey man, you want to get involved? And he was like, I've been waiting. So
it's like you kind of found your
it's like
it makes you happy.
It's a passion project as much as it's a business. Like we're running a business, but I enjoy it. I don't want to call it a hobby. But it's absolutely a project, and there's absolutely passion in it. And I love that I get to take my love for wrestling and my love for live entertainment and combine it.
Yeah,
that's big for me.
Because you work for Red Rover Entertainment, and then you guys were touring. Like I know you went to Saudi Arabia, or
that was like I've been all over the world with them.
And it's like I've known you now for, I don't know,
7 or 8 years.
Yeah, something like that. And like, this guy's like, I can't come play hockey because I'm on tour. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing then? He's on tour. Like, I don't think he can play an instrument, you know. But like,
I do drum, or I used to drum. But I'm very productive.
Yeah, but like I would heard about that. I was like, fuck, this is awesome. Like that you get to see the world. You're in entertainment industry, and now you get to do it here too with them. And
I love it because it's at home, and I can like. You do shows at home and you do gigs here and there for this company or that company or this corporation. Like you do galas. And there's always that side of it, but it's not often that you get to do like a show at home and have your friends and family come down. And a big thing for me is I like to see the smiles on the faces of the people attending the show. Yeah. I'm not ever part of the show as a lighting guy. Like, cool, I make the lights go, they go to the music, whatever. Or I tour manage. I'm behind the scenes making sure all artists are taken care of, the venue's good. But you always take a moment to see the smiles, that's what it is for me.
You peek out from behind the curtains,
yeah. So getting to do that at home, or like whenever if I'm on a tour and the show rolls through Winnipeg, it's like everybody's always like, "Hey, can I come to your show? Can I get tickets?" Yeah, I'm limited, but like, I want you guys to come and experience this with me. I want to share my joy with you. I want all of these things, and that's what it is for me in that industry. So combining the two. Yeah, perfect. It doesn't get any better for me.
Well, and so you guys have great sponsors behind you too. Like again, Red Rover Entertainment. You have
Survey Media.
I have my graphics designs, but like you guys have Odin Tattoo on there. You guys have pregame still on.
Yeah, pregame still does our postgame. Yeah.
So I gotta say, pregame. If I don't think you've been to pregame yet. We have to go and get drunk there. It's amazing.
It's a nice little spot.
Is that the old Le Garage?
It's the old Le Garage on Provencher. Yeah.
They have wing deals. Beers are priced
Their
well.
burgers are really good too.
I actually haven't had that, but like it's a nice little nook, and after party on the 9th will be fun.
It's gonna be packed.
Yeah, we need a table. I think we should bring our own folding table.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yes.
we're good. We just set up over here.
Yeah.
No,
where is your event where and when?
yeah, do your.
So I can do the plug if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
So
sure.
it's January 9th at CCFM JPA Hall, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is bell. Doors open at 5:45. You can get your tickets on our Eventbrite page, which is thursdaynightwrestling.eventbrite.ca.
We'll throw a link in
Yeah.
our pod script and on YouTube.
Yeah, January 9th.
Yeah. So I will be there for sure.
I know
I guess
you
I
will
should
be.
go.
Yeah.
Come down, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
We'll take care of that. Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to save one drinking day for. Fuck.
And you know what's kind of fun? I don't know. Is your other business tied in? Like, has that been acknowledged here? Do people know
we haven't
what you do?
Oh yeah, kind of.
Well, we
Yeah.
haven't specifically said
Yeah.
the name. or
So
anything.
we're bringing in Matt Riddle, whom is a very avid agricultural consumer. So I reached out to our mutual friend Tina, our mutual connection
Yeah.
Tina, and I was like, hey, like, do you guys want to do something with this guy? So we're kind of, I guess, trying to put that together. But yeah, I was like, hey, can you, like, Tim, maybe call Tim?
Yeah.
So we sorted it out. I think Tina did anyways. And so yeah, Matt Riddle, he's coming in January 9th. He used to be in the WWE, and he has an 8-2 record, 8-3 record in the UFC.
Okay.
So he's a badass dude. Wrestles barefoot, like gives
I
zero
can
fucks. Yeah.
I can help with.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys always bring in like a big name. right?
Always, at
Yeah.
least one on every show, and it's not necessarily what I would consider like a massive star, but it's people that I know had a really good run, and that Mike knows, and that Dorian knows had a really good run in their career, and are still relevant, and are still selling tickets, and are still able to put on a good show. Like, we have a very a good bar set for the standard of the quality of the wrestler that we put in our ring, right?
Yeah.
So Mike is very cognizant of that. Always runs the idea by us, and we make sure that we bring in somebody that's going to engage with the fans. Yeah.
You guys had also couple women fighting every show, and I love that, man. Like, there's just like these beautiful women beat the shit out of each other. It blows my mind because like, okay, it's natural for men to fight, but like for women, no. And like they're tough, man. And like I fake or not fake, I would not want them to jump on me because they would break me in 3-4 places.
I think
just
something
like
that's going to
that.
blow your mind, Relentless Riley Rose is only 18.
What?
Yeah.
Holy.
So she has dedicated her life to wrestling and started training as a teenager. Her mom supports her, travels with her everywhere. She was somebody that we really had our eyes set on because we know she is going to like
Up and coming. Yeah,
She's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go. She's gonna hit it. Yeah,
she's awesome.
She just won.
And she's super sweet.
She's the nicest.
Oh my god, yeah, I met her and I was like, yeah, this is sweet girl.
Yeah.
I would not want to be in that square.
No, she's
with her.
badass.
Yeah.
She's on my do not fuck with list.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so just absolutely amazing. The whole crew. Your dad's on the crew.
He is. Yeah,
he's there. I know Dustin from the music scene too. You guys show up the day before. You put everything together. It looks absolutely professional. I wish you guys nothing but the best
thank you.
moving forward. I hope to be part of it too,
I hope so
as
too,
with the sponsor. And there are some struggles, but I love doing it. I absolutely
We're
love
super
doing it.
needy.
So that's well.
Most young
that's well
developing
described.
businesses are.
Yeah. But that's why when you kind of reached out to me first, I was like, look, let me do this.
Yeah.
Like, screw it. Like I want to be part of it.
Awesome.
So
And we appreciate you.
Wish you had that attitude about all the work you do for me.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
fuck. All right, we need another hour. Let's do this. Well, let me tell you what
Let's
I think.
let's unpack this. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Zach, yeah.
I'm awake now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a few minutes, but
So-
I'm here.
So we should have a whiskey. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
24 hours, right?
Yeah,
Is it the 24
yeah,
hours?
Yeah.
No, thanks for taking time. We really appreciate it. I'm grateful for you being so honest with your story, and it's a unique one, and it's very interesting, and I really appreciate that you shared that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, throw your Instagram out again, your personal one if you want to, or your Wrestling United. Just give it one last plug for yourself.
Wrestling United 204 on Instagram and just on Facebook, Wrestling United. We've got the Eventbrite ticket link, which is thursdaynightwrestling.eventbrite.ca.
Wonderful. And thank you for coming on our show. We got a little mug for you.
Oh, well, thank you. This is great. Healing starts with a single conversation.
Right?
We've had a conversation today. So
We have
Absolutely.
now, yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Quiet Riot Show. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsors for making this show possible. And of course, thank you, our amazing listeners, for your support. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're at Quiet Riot Show on all platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can watch full episodes of the podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and review us wherever you're listening. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. We'd also love to hear from you. Have questions, suggestions, or thoughts about the show? Drop us an email at quietriotshow@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Quiet Riot Show.